It was shortly after my dad died. It just something. I flipped a switch. I got sick and tired of the mouth. I got sick and tired of the ridicule, and I decided to take some souls.
So I remember posting a couple, like sharing some of his workout video links into our moderator group chat. And I was like, guys, this dude is my spirit animal. Like, look at him go.
Stop hanging out with degenerates. Stop hanging out with people who only really want you around for their benefit, just so you can get drunk, so you can get high. You know, these people aren't going to be in your life forever. As soon as the fun ends, you're not going to be anywhere to be found. They're not friends with you, they're friends with your habits. So, we are joined by the legendary Chevy, the Chad Shawn. How are you doing, bro? Do you feel like an absolute Chad today?
Oh, I've never felt like a bigger Chad today. I mean,
it's always good to be a Chad.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's all good, man. And Gabe, what about you, bro? Do you feel like a Chad today? But before you answer, I just need to set the record straight. You're on your phone again today. We agreed, didn't we, that you'd have the laptop set up, some headphones. So I'm slightly revoking your Chad license today.
Bummer.
You've got a junior license.
Bummer. Junior Chad. That's me. Yeah, well, you let me wear a tie today, so I feel like a Chad. You know?
I'm demoting you to a Chadawan.
The Chadawan. Yeah, there you go. Right on.
Yeah. So, Jamie, why don't you tell us, like, you're obviously a key player in, maybe not so much our group, like I definitely notice you and pay attention to your posts, but certainly in the David Goggins Souls group on Facebook. So, for anyone watching, I'm sure you know Chevy. So, I want to know, like, what is your story? What can you tell us? What can you tell us about you? Like, what is it I know?
So I was just a real thin kid, just little most of my younger days. When I was 15 years old, my dad, he was a big inspiration in my life. He passed away a couple years ago of COVID, but he was a steel worker for 36 years, and he forged steel wrenches. And he just, I mean, I took my share of bullying when I was in school, just like many kids do. But I came home from school one day, and he bought me a 20-pound weight, and I started working with it. Kind of got frustrated with it, then worked with it again, and I never looked back. And my dad always encouraged me. He says, one of these days, you're gonna be the best version of yourself possible. He always encouraged me to keep going, to never stop bettering myself. So that's kind of where I started. Like I said, about 2003 is when I started working out, and just I would watch him lift engine blocks when I was a teenager, and I always wanted to mirror that. I wanted to do it in his honor, and that's kind of where it started for me. That's why you've seen all the engine block videos and the crankshaft tricep extensions and the cylinder heads, and all those were his parts. But it was all for him. But he inspired me through what I'd seen him do over the years, strength wise. And I mean, he had hands the size of a baseball glove. He was strong. I mean, that's all he worked with was steel. But and he loved to wrench on cars, and Chevrolet ran through his blood. So that's where my name came from, Chevy Shawn. So it's kind of my backstory. He got me into working out, and I've been doing it ever since.
I love it, bro. And it sounds like your dad was an absolute Chad.
He was
maybe even
maybe
even the Chad father himself, the original.
He was a second-degree black belt and coasted to me CE Con karate. And as a young man, as a kid, and that's where he started. And he was inducted into the USA International Black Belt Hall of Fame here back in 2022, just after he died. And it was a real honor to be there to and just breathe in that atmosphere in his honor. So here I am.
Well, man, I'd like to thank you for sharing. Very, very heartwarming story, and I'm sorry to hear about your father. But I love like seeing those videos of you like lifting the car engines and stuff. Like I first, I first saw it in the David Goggins group, and I was just like, "What the hell is this guy doing?" Like at first, I was like, I was a bit skeptical, but then you grew on me, bro, and then eventually I fell in love, and I was like, I've got to get this guy in my group. I want his fun vibe. I love it. He's an absolute Chad. So I guess that's where we got connected, and then I invited you to the group.
Yeah, I
so
remember that, and I really
it's been
appreciated
good.
it. I've had a lot of fun, and
It's all good, man. Definitely, and I think it's got to be fun. Like if you're not enjoying it, like what's the point?
exactly.
Why be boring? That's what I
Right,
say.
life's too short. You enjoy it every day and make the best of it. Even if other people don't understand it. So.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So, Gabe, we've kind of ignored you a little bit. So I'm going to give you a window of opportunity to give us some dialogue, bro. What can you tell us?
Right
What
on.
can you?
Well, it's funny because at the time that you brought Shawn into the group, I didn't realize that you had brought him in. So I remember posting a couple, like sharing some of his workout video links into our moderator group chat. And I was like, guys, this dude is my spirit animal. Like, look at him go. I love this. And Josh is like, yeah, I brought him in the group. And I'd seen him in the David Goggins Souls group as well. I've been a member there for 2 or 3 years. So I was like, this guy's cool. So I started dropping comments on his videos and everything, started messaging him. So I think that's cool that it came full circle. Now here you are on our podcast, the Chadcast. Inspiring everybody, man. You've inspired me. I've seen other people post in other groups responding to your videos and comments that you are an inspiration to them as well. So it's truly an honor for you and for us to be thought of in that way and to have people post such engagement. And we're here to help people, right? That's why we do it. And so it's just great that you've been able to do what you've been able to do, and you're just getting started, really. I think you have a long road of helping people ahead of you, more so than you've already been doing.
Well, I sure hope so, and that's all I really want to do. Like I was telling Josh, before we went live, I mentioned to him, I think it's just such a shame that so many people out there have no idea what they're capable of. I think society has kind of made most people complacent, and they've kind of robbed people of their potential. There's too much. Just you know, just settle. But people could do so much more to better themselves, and I really hope to help them out. And I want to thank you both for your kind words and your encouragement and everything you've also said about me, and I appreciate that. Appreciate both of you.
Absolutely. I do have a question for you, Shawn. So you've been a big guy for a while, right? If you scroll back on your Facebook page, you're arm wrestling, looking super jacked and everything. I can say this now because you're so lean. You were a little chubby back in the day. So
sure was.
what flipped that switch and what prompted you to go on this workout journey of a cut that you've been doing, which has attracted a lot of attention that I've seen? What kind of changed that for you in your mind?
Wow. Well, I'll be honest with you. I was on one of the arm wrestling forums, and I'm not involved with arm wrestling anymore because honestly, I don't like the culture. I'm not saying they're all disrespectful people, but there's quite a few of them that I've met, and that's not the kind of person I am. That's not who I connect with. I connect with gentlemen like you, guys that want to help others and not tear them down. So I had made a video, and I post pictures on my Facebook, and I've been cracked on. Well, one day, one certain individual cracked on me, and cracked on my physique, cracked on my extra weight, and I was watching a lot of Goggins videos and had been for just a year, and it was shortly after my dad died. It just something. I flipped a switch. I got sick and tired of the mouth. I got sick and tired of the ridicule, and I decided to take some souls. So that's exactly what I did. I went on a 12-week cut. I've never done that in my entire life. I started out at 208 pounds when you guys seen me on those previous videos, and right now I'm 162. And I'm just that, but that's what changed it for me, Gabriel. I got tired of the ridicule, and I decided to make a change. It's just as simple as that. And I never really knew what I was capable of until I started, you know, jogging 10, 13 miles every other day. It's just the lifestyle has changed my mindset too, because what I realized is when you're overweight, it's really, there's two sides to that story. It's like looking through a two-way mirror. Your lean and best self is on the other side of that mirror. My dad's brother, who was he was a grandmaster of martial arts, and that's who my dad learned from. He always said that he would always talk to his students, and he'd always say, the worst person that you have to confront is the one you're looking at in that mirror. And if and if you can't face yourself in that mirror, you can't face anyone else. Because if you can't beat your own demons, you can't beat someone else. And that's the mindset I started to develop. I kind of picture it like digging a hole in the ground. You know, so many people, they start out, it's like they start out down in this hole that somebody dug, and they're looking up at their best self up on the ground with that big pile of dirt. All you got to do is kind of reverse engineer it. And in your mind, you have to see the kind of person you want to become. You want to craft yourself into it. And you have to see that picture in your mind, and you have to kind of place that dirt back in that hole, and you have to end up being the person with the shovel. I mean, I had a dream, probably about 2 weeks after I started my cut, and I never had six-pack abs in my life. As bizarre as it might sound, that was my dream. I wanted that lean physique. But in this dream, I actually seen myself standing in front of that mirror, looking at myself, looking like I do today. I kept that image in my mind the whole time I was training. There was never any doubt in my mind as I was doing these exercises down this basement. And there has been something I've learned, through listening to Goggins talk and learning my own experience about the power of the human mind. It's incredible. When I seen a vision upstairs, I turned myself into it. And I've learned how to do it. And I'd encourage anyone to go down that journey, that path, because anybody can do it. Anybody. You just have to be willing to be uncomfortable and go that distance.
Sure. There's a lot of mental fortitude that comes within that type of suffering, that when you're on the other end of the spectrum, you can look back and see that you've grown in various ways. And for those of us, or for those viewers that are watching, we're not taking shots at overweight people, right? A couple months ago, I was 262 pounds, right? Big boy. We're not cracking on you people. But we know that we would have been happier had we done this sooner, now that we're looking back at it. And as Sean's saying here, there's so much mental fortitude and mental discipline that can be gained in doing what Sean has done and what each of us have done, and what each of us will continue on doing.
Absolutely, Gabe. I couldn't agree more. Now, what about you, Josh? Let me ask you. I mean, and I guess maybe I'll throw a couple questions at you guys along the way. That's all right. Okay, Josh. What's tell us a little bit about something maybe a time maybe you faced some adversity and had to really dig down inside yourself to be able to come out of it to become to win. Can you tell us about that?
I'd say the biggest thing that comes to mind for me is going through like a really difficult breakup in my life. I think it's about somewhere around 2 years ago now, just before I started the group, about a few months before. I realized I had a lot of toxic traits about myself, and like at the time I didn't want to admit it to myself, but eventually I realized that I was not like a great guy. Like I had many things wrong with me. I was very self-centered, very selfish. Wasn't very good with my emotions. I'm still not good with them, but I've got a lot better. And I really struggled with vulnerability. That was something that was very difficult for me because I always had that fear that I was going to be judged. People going to see me as weak. I'm going to get taken advantage of. All these different things, and eventually, I just got to the point where I accepted that part of myself. I accepted that, look, I've got vulnerabilities. I've got a human side and I've got emotions, and I accepted that that's okay. I stopped like living my life based on what other people are thinking about me, and I just embraced who I was. I just started to be me.
Absolutely.
And I realized that it doesn't matter what all these other people think, because at the end of the day, like, these people have insecurities themselves. These people are not perfect. Nobody's perfect. So by that standard, like, what's the point? Like, why do I need to listen to these people who are exactly in the same boat as me? And yeah, like, that's probably been the biggest personal journey for me, and that's ultimately what led to me creating the group. It's a little bit more complex than that, but if you guys want to hear more about that story, like, go on my YouTube channel. We've done a couple of podcasts, me and Gabe, so you'll find them there.
I got you.
But yeah, that's me.
Okay, Gabriel, how about yourself? Same question to you.
Sure, man. Yeah, about 6 months ago in January, got a call, 9 o'clock at night. Hey, we're done, we're finished, we're through. And it's a girl I'd been dating for a couple of months. We'd kind of planned out our life together, planning on marrying her. So that hurt, right? I was like, well, massive bummer, And then, like you said, I started reflecting, looking at that guy in the mirror, big 262-pound fat boy, dumped, looking like a loser, feeling like a loser. And I thought, well, I'm pretty sad about this. I'm not going to let it get me too down. So I just continued on doing what I was doing. And I've been training jiu-jitsu for a couple of years now. So that same month, I switched gyms to a more competitive type gym. And I got destroyed, man, by everybody every time I went in there. And I was, sucking wind, dying, laying there on the floor. And this guy we call Doc, I think he's like a legitimate doctor. He came up and I was like, Doc, how do I get better at this? And he's like, it's just cardio, bro. You'll be fine, And so, and that was the reality of it, like when you're that out of shape, like everything kills you. And interestingly enough, and this might sound bad because you guys are like, oh, who cares about what the haters say? And, they have their own issues. The way I got through it is I focused on my haters specifically, like this girl's parents. I thought about them, when I had to dig deep and was being destroyed and I felt like I couldn't keep going. And I'm sure that sounds like, spiteful or whatever, but I thought about these people, that put me in this position and that made me feel this way. And I always found a reason to dig a little deeper, thinking about them and, how I was treated and things that they did. One thing that comes to mind is we went on this hike, which we weren't supposed to go on, but the one of the parents did it on purpose just to spite me, I swear, because I'm a big 262-pound fat boy. And, this person's in great shape, so they're charging up this mountain, and I'm like 200 yards behind the entire family on this hike. And I felt bad, and I knew that they were doing it directed towards me, and I just thought about that, So when I'm out late at night running, having a hard time, getting after it, or when I'm training hard and I'm having a hard time getting after it, I do focus on those people who, made me feel those emotions, and it kind of helps drive me through, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does, because every single day when I go on those jogs, I think the same thing about all those haters that mouthed me and tried to bring me down. Like today, for instance, I was on mile 11. I had, or mile 10, I think it was. I had 3 miles to go to hit my 13-mile mark. And I can remember just saying, God, I think I'm just going to go home. I'm on mile 10, I'm just call it a day. But then deep down, I could hear him say, they'd like you to turn around, wouldn't they?
Yep.
They would love it if you turned around and went home right now instead of finishing that last 3 miles, because that, you know what I mean? Because that's going to put you further away from bettering yourself tomorrow. And every time I want to quit, every time I say, I'm going to call it a day, Shawn, just go home. You've done enough today. Nope. Then right up here, I pull them out, just like you said. And I can't, it drives me forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And a little bit of context for those viewers who aren't familiar with David Goggins, Navy SEAL ultramarathon runner. He has a concept in his books, the book that I read, Can't Hurt Me, and it's called Taking Souls. So just to explain it, it's nothing weird or religious. It's when you and that other person are running and are competing against each other, and they want you to give up, but they give up first. You outdo them even by like a fraction of a second. That moment that you outdo them when they wanted you to fail, he calls it taking their souls. You outdid them. You won that. And we don't hate these people we're talking about. I don't hate this girl's parents or family. But I can live, rent free in their heads. And also take their souls when they don't even know what's going on. They're probably sitting on the couch eating chips or something, and I'm out there doing more than what they're doing, and that's what drives some people, guys like Shawn and I, and Josh when he's in his villain arc. But lately he's been a lot more positive to be around. But so we're not saying anything weird, taking souls. It's more of a we're being better than ourselves by being going and pushing harder than those other people. So that's kind of the concept.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really become a big part of my my transformation. Just that concept, and I didn't understand it at first. I mean, I can remember years ago when but for 20 years of my life, I never did steady state cardio. It was all just weightlifting, and I'd see people jogging on the side of the street, on the sidewalk, and I was like, man, why are them guys out there doing that? I get it now.
Yeah.
It's because I've kind of learned through cardio that even though it's hard at first, it seemed like to me that it's like as you're out there and you find your stride and you start pacing, you kind of become one with yourself. Even though your legs are burning, or you're starting to you're getting sore for whatever reason, it just seemed like you're calm up here. You kind of control your physical being, your physical body, and pain levels with your mind. Even though I'm hurting out here and I'm like, oh man, it's hot, it's humid, I'm calm here, and it keeps me going. Or I'll get a picture in my mind of where I want to be on the course, and I keep jogging until I get right to it. And I turn this into reality. It's always in the mind, and I've learned that.
Yeah, and that's true. I got a text the other day. It said, "You don't post those pictures of us, in the boat. I look like a beached whale, this and that." This person feeling badly about themselves. And I told him, we are the only people that we can change. I can't change Chevy Shawn. I can't change Josh Jables. I can change myself. And if I don't like what I'm looking at in pictures or in the mirror, I'm the one who's responsible for it, and that's the beautiful thing about life. You're responsible for yourself. You're 2 decisions away from ruining your life. That's a concept. You make one bad decision and okay, I can recover from that. But when you make that second bad decision, then that's when you have a lot more work cut out for yourself. But it's the same way getting out of something. You can make a good decision and then follow it up with another good decision. And next thing you know, you have these small victories and the self-discipline forming, and you can just change who you are.
Yes, sir. I mean, 100%, Gabe. I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, you guys are both great. I just like what you guys are doing. In the group, helping uh, thousands, if not millions, of people out. In the coming months, years. It's just really good work you guys are doing, and I'm really thrilled to have been a part, of this show and come on here and talk with you guys, and been looking forward to it.
Appreciate that, man. Likewise.
Well, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's what we do. Like, that's what we're about. We're about helping other people, helping other men, showing them that there is a better way to live life. You don't just have to live life on easy mode and just because that's where we stagnate. If we're not striving for something, we're just gonna burn out and just flatline, and then that's when we start feeling miserable. That's where we start feeling not good enough in ourselves because there's no purpose there. There's no drive. Like when a man is like reaching for his best self, he becomes more productive. He becomes more driven. He becomes more purposeful. He's happier, healthier. All these things. His relationships are so much better. He's more attractive. He's more socially magnetic. Why? Because when a man's like aiming for something and is working towards it, there is this sense of achievement, and that helps to make us feel so much better in ourselves. It helps us build our sense of self-worth. So, any man who's maybe struggling right now, maybe it's your mental health, maybe it's other things, ask yourself, are you actually striving for something? Or are you just living like the same boring, dull life? You go to work, you come home, you sit on the couch, you eat, I don't know, some potato chips or whatever it is you guys call it over in America, and maybe play some video games and all those like bad habits. Like there comes a point where you've got to ask yourself, like, what the hell am I doing in my life? Surely there's more,
Right.
And looking back, like that kind of was me in a way. Like not so much the potato chips, but I played a lot of video games and like I was miserable.
Yeah.
Had no purpose, no drive, and I could have been doing so much more.
Oh man, and it's funny you say that because you always realize, like, whenever you get to a point where you see yourself getting better and you're improving in all areas of your life, because working out, I feel like it has a ripple effect across other areas of your life, but you realize that hindsight's always 20/20. You say, man, why wasn't I doing this 10, 15 years ago? Why didn't it hit me then? And wait till I'm 37 years old. I don't know how old you guys are, but it just same thing. Man, why I could have been living in my 20s like this instead of being miserable, just not in the shape that I could have been, or not just the physical shape of your body, but the mental state. Yeah, yeah, your mental health too, and that's just as important as your physical state. So
yeah, and there's two best times to plant a tree. They say the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but none of us planted that tree 20 years ago. So the next best time to plant the tree is absolutely right now in this moment, moving forward. So that's all we can do. We can't cry over spilt milk and wasted time. Let's plant that tree and get after it.
absolutely, and that's what we do every day. We just stay on it. So you guys, you just keep doing it to it, man, and I wish you guys both the best, and keep improving yourselves every day, and Just keep taking those souls one by one. Keep getting better
Yeah,
and better
and
every day.
I'll throw
And
this out there.
that's definitely what we're gonna do.
I got a text from Shawn the other day when I sent him a picture of kind of my progress and everything, and he said, "Hey, I want to make sure you promised me something." And I said, "Sure, what's up, man?" He said, "Make sure that this isn't just like a fad. Make sure that you keep doing this every single day. You make this decision because it's easy to get in shape. Well, it's not easy to get in shape, but when you do get in shape, you're happier. But it's easy to fall off the wagon." And just keep thinking of your former self. But Shawn was like, no, you need to make sure you're doing this every day. And that's absolutely right. It's a daily decision.
Absolutely. Total lifestyle. And that's what it really comes down to.
Yeah.
Sure.
And while we're on the topic of fitness, many people in the group have this idea that I don't work out, like I avoid exercise at all costs because I'm always saying that it's the gym's not like it's not going to solve all your problems. Like, don't get me wrong, it helps a lot, and I do work out, believe it or not. But yeah, like I think it's important to have other things going on, certainly. And yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I just started talking and words came out, and
There's more to
now
life.
Yeah,
it enhances what life you have going on, but there's more to life. You working out isn't going to fix your bad credit score, and the fact that you don't have a job, and the fact that you have to walk to work because you can't save up money to buy a car because you're frivolous. But it does enhance the discipline and the decision making. And no, I'm not going to spend this money on fast food or something. I'll eat a sandwich and save my money and get a better car, and maybe now I can drive to go interview for a new job. So you're right. It's not an end all be all, but it helps put you in the mindset where you need to be, that warrior mindset to go after and get things done.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with that being said, like I wanna thank Shawn for coming on today. It's been really good having you. I think now, like, it'd be a good opportunity if you guys are willing. Maybe we could look at some of the posts that people have been making in the group, and maybe we could share give our insight. Maybe give a little bit of advice for anyone who may be struggling. Is that something you guys are open to?
Yeah.
Sure. Let's do it.
Okay.
Are you pulling that up?
All right. So I'm gonna go
now that I'm banished to junior Chad status.
Yeah. Yeah, junior Chad. I'll tell you what. I will give you your Chad master rank back if you keep the conversation going while I find some
right on
some posts to talk about.
Right on. Okay. Well, Shawn, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
As two people who, maybe a year or two ago, we were just, weightlifting, and we did look at those psychotic people running down the road on a hot summer's day thinking, bro, you don't need cardio to get in shape, So what can you tell our group member who's sitting on the couch right now? Maybe he's eating a bowl of SpaghettiOs or something, and he's like, bro, I lift 3 days a week for 45 minutes each time in the gym. Why Chevy Shawn should I go out and try to run?
Absolutely. I found this out the hard way. That's all I used to do for years was just work out, and lift weights, but no cardio. And I'll tell that person sitting on the couch that they simply aren't burning enough energy to maintain, themselves, and they will eventually accumulate excess fat that it will eventually turn them out of shape. And just cardio, especially if it's steady state and you get to that point where you can keep going, cardio just keeps the deficit, or at least the maintenance. That way you can recomp your body, and that's exactly what I would tell them. Lifting weights it'll increase muscle, but if you're just eating a crappy diet, it's not going to make up for all the extra calories you're intaking, and that's why you've got to do the cardio.
And for those viewers who just heard Sean say it helps maintenance, and maybe you don't understand this concept, viewer, but pretty much the way cardio can assist is, say you're on a diet and you're saying, I'm only going to eat 2,500 calories each day, okay? And then you're sticking to that diet. One day you screw up, you eat 300 calories. Now you're not in that caloric deficit. Cardio is amazing because you can go crank out, 500 calories on the treadmill or something. You go lose those calories. So that basically sets you back to the, 2,500 calories. So you're still able to maintain that caloric deficit by, if you cheat on your diet or something like that, that steady state cardio can help you lose those calories. And then you're back down to 2,500. So it's a very useful tool for, like Sean said, recompositioning your body.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, guys, I've found as a little post. Can you guys see my screen right now?
I see it, Josh.
Right. Okay, so a guy called Henry, he's asking in the group, what advice would you give for someone turning 20? Want to start the next decade right?
Oh, wow. Well, who wants to start?
I can start.
I feel like
still being in my 20s if you want, Josh.
Yeah, we'll start with the youngest first.
There you go.
The young Cheddar one.
Yeah, the young Cheddar one. Yeah, man. So what was I doing at the exact age of 20? I had just gotten out of college. I'd been firefighting for 3 years. I decided to take a break of that, and I started working somewhere else. I think the two best pieces of advice I could give you is go somewhere where you can socialize with people. Go get involved in a hobby. Go get involved in church. Go get involved where you have people that you get to see every single week, people that can invest in your life and that you can invest in their lives. Build meaningful friendships with those types of people. And that can be, at jiu-jitsu, that could be at church, that could be at, your local skate rink. I don't know, figure something out, do something like that. And then the other piece of advice I would give is invest in yourself first, meaning put some money aside for yourself. Invest in bettering yourself. It's easy to say, yes, can you go help me with this? Yeah, I'll help you with this. Can you give me this thing? Yeah, I'll give you this thing. But make sure that you are putting on your own, oxygen mask when the plane's crashing, which is life, before you reach over and help somebody else put their oxygen mask on. So that would be it. Invest in yourself first, put aside some of your paycheck, every paycheck, because, that stuff compounds after time, and make sure that you're in a good spot mentally, physically, emotionally before you try to go help other people. Otherwise, you're just going to get worn thin. So, go join jiu-jitsu or get in church or surround yourself with people to have that community, and then invest in yourself first. That's what I would say.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely.
I agree completely. I guess for me, like, I'm a little bit older than Gabe. I think I'm. How many years is it, Gabe? I'm about
maybe 4 or 5. You're old, man.
About 4 years.
You're getting old.
Yeah, I'm gonna be 27 soon.
Nice.
So I'm getting there. I guess for me, like, the age of 20 is it's a big turning point in a man's life, I think, and it's difficult because at that age you don't really, at least for me, I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do in my life. There were so many things I'd tell myself if I could go back. One of the biggest ones would be stop hanging out with degenerates. Stop hanging out with people who only really want you around for their benefit, just so you can get drunk, so you can get high. These people aren't going to be in your life forever. As soon as the fun ends, you're not going to be anywhere to be found. They're not friends with you, they're friends with your habits. That's certainly what I'd say. If you want to develop meaningful connections with people, join like groups like this, places where there's people with common interests. you can work towards like a unified goal, for example. Like, how close are me and you, Gabe, just because of what we do here? Like, it's meaningful. We've got a very close bond because of it. And, we live halfway across the world.
Yeah.
It's powerful stuff. So definitely don't hang around with degenerates. That's a big piece of advice. And don't drink too much. In fact, if you're going to help it, like, you don't need to drink. Like, that's the thing. Drinking is just, people drink because it's like either they want to numb the pain, they want to distract themselves, or they want the social validation of being around people.
Yeah.
Two things which you do not need in your life.
Yeah.
There's much healthier ways to deal with these issues.
100%.
I guess the next piece of advice would be, it's hard to obviously know what you want to do in life, but I think really take some time to really reflect on yourself. What are your interests? What are your values? What are your strengths? And really try to work something out where, like me, for example, like what I do with a group, obviously I'm now turning this into a business and starting to turn this into like a career for me, making money. Because like at that age, I didn't really see the value in money. But now I'm seeing that, like, I'm not saying it makes you happy, but it opens up a hell of a lot more opportunities for you because it gives you more time, gives you more freedom to pursue what you really want to pursue. And that's ultimately going to help you to, really tune in on that sense of purpose. Definitely pursue purpose. That's a big one. And don't be afraid to face your own emotions. Don't shy away from them. Don't repress them. I think that's the absolute worst thing you can do. It's going to turn you into an emotional wreck. Don't be bitter. Don't like hate people that have hurt you. Like, yeah, obviously it's these people have wronged you, but I think kind of recognize that, and it's hard, but these people they are doing the best with what they've got. These people have their own issues, and it takes a lot of work, but you've got to kind of step aside from that and really look at it from a really open mind, and it takes a lot of work. But yeah, just be willing to look within always and be very humble. And that's what I would tell my younger self.
Yeah. Oh, man. And really, it's hard for me to add anything to that, guys. I'm going to be honest with you because, now looking back, I think I would just say, really do soul searching, and especially, starts, I would say, right when you get out of high school. And because the earlier you can hit the ground running, the better off you are. Just do some soul searching after high school. Figure out what you want to do. Think about it. Give it a lot of thought. Hang out with a good group of people. Yeah, no degenerates, just like you guys said. Steer clear of drugs. Take care of yourself and always strive for health. That's what I've done my whole life. I don't believe in drugs. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. I don't believe in alcohol. But yeah, I would tell them to do soul searching. One, that way you know what you want to do as a career. Through your 20s, because once you get to 30, things, your lifestyle changes. It's harder to make choices then. Just be consistent. Put your nose to the grindstone. Try not to do a lot of job hopping. It's okay to get experience, but try to get yourself into some stable work where you can really get down and save some money and, be able to build your credit, buy a house, buy a car, whatever you want to do. And I don't really have much to add to that, guys. I think I'm kind of right there with you both.
I definitely think that if there's anything I could add to it, it would be find yourself, and it's easier said than done, but find yourself a mentor who has already been through the struggles and has achieved something that you yourself want to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
Try and spend your time around people who have succeeded in these areas. So maybe goals, fitness, for example, hang around with people who, they're in good shape.
Yeah.
If it's people who have made a lot of money, hang around with people who have businesses and are making money. Whatever it is, be around those people because they are going to be hugely valuable to you and your goals. And I think the second one is don't isolate yourself. Really make the effort to go out, socialize, talk to people, even if it's just like saying hello to strangers on the street. Being able to like build that social confidence is going to be huge because communication is like arguably the number one most important skill in life, and if you can't do that, it's really going to affect your relationships and everything like that. So I definitely recommend getting that down.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that 100% truth. Yeah, I mean, struggles are real out there, but and life kicks you in the teeth. I mean, there's a lot of things we all have to deal with and go through, but each experience just makes us a little bit smarter, a little bit harder. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, learn from other people's
Absolutely.
mistakes if you can. You don't have to be the knucklehead that makes all of his own. Well, I make my own mistakes. I learn from myself. Don't be stupid. There's, as King Solomon said, there's no new thing under the sun. And he wrote that 2,000 years or longer than 2,000 years ago, maybe 4,000 years ago. There is no new thing under the sun. So don't be a knucklehead. Don't make all your own mistakes. Learn from other people around you and see what they did and what works and what doesn't work. And you can avoid a lot of heartache that way.
Oh yeah, I mean, my dad always said to me, he was really something, but he'd say, you can learn a lot about people just by getting back and watching them, just by studying them, Or we'd be in a restaurant somewhere, and he'd say, just look at that person, just based on their body language or based on you can learn a lot about people, and really you can learn a lot about yourself using the same techniques, just kind of, why am I feeling this way, or what can I do about it, and there's just a lot of different techniques I think that we can use to help ourselves. And I guess I'm just kind of running on. I don't know where I was going with that either. I had a moment. But
it happens, bro.
Yeah.
It happens. Like we get an idea, we start talking, and then it got a brain fart. We don't know.
Yeah. It left just as quick as it came in. It went out.
Definitely. Well, I've got some ideas now. Like I'm reading through the comments on this live stream, and we've got a comment from Randy. Randy is one of our moderators of the Men's Self Improvement group. So, hi Randy, hope you're doing well, bro. So we're just going to read this comment out. Randy says, "Just want to say to Chevy, I'm a 16-year military veteran. I saw way too much and it broke me hard. I became a shell of a person, and since retiring, I've been focused on rebuilding myself." Keep scrolling down. And finding out who I am, the best version of myself. I have seen your posts and I am inspired by them. Very thankful that you are part of the group and look forward to seeing your posts. I'm really happy that you moved beyond the hateful comments. Each one of us is better than that, and we all have the potential to achieve more.
Yeah, I mean, and I really want to thank him, for that. I really appreciate that a lot. It means a lot. I've experienced a lot of hate, myself as I was, kind of going through my transformation. When I came to the recent transformation, I mean, I still had guys message me saying, bring back the fat Shawn, bring back this, they didn't want to see me like this. They wanted to see me, overweight. Or they'd, or they plastered pictures, or they'd send me some kind of yeah, computer generated, fat face of myself. I kind of got a kick out of it. I never lost any sleep over it, but people don't, when you're rebuilding yourself, you have to block people out. And that's exactly what I would tell him to do is if he's, I know he said he was in the military. And he had some issues coming back, and I know he's been through a lot. Absolutely pay no attention to anybody. You are the most important person in your life. I mean, of course, family. I don't mean to exclude those people, but you know what I mean. But tell him to focus on him. It don't matter how long the progress takes. Just keep shoveling that dirt. Just keep putting the time in, and he'll get there. I believe in him 100%. There's nothing he can't do.
Absolutely. And I just want to give a big shout out to Randy because, like, I feel like Randy helps inspire me a lot. He's been through a lot, and Randy's part of our men's self improvement academy, and obviously he joins the calls regularly, and he shared a lot, and he's just shown me that you could be in a really, really low place, and just seeing how far Randy's come, it shows me that anything is possible. And yeah, I'm very thankful for you, Randy, and I'm glad that you're now able to help us lead the group and help us moderate. I'm glad to have you on the team. Got some more comments here. So Ronan, thanks for tuning in. Nice to see you, bro. He says, also, don't touch weed. Most dangerous drug as it kills potential energy. I was addicted from 13 until 22. I'm 24 now. In the last 2 years, I have achieved more than the 10 years before that. Went from 55 kg to 84 at a length of 190 centimeters. I was very, very thin.
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of going back on that, I agree. It's just, I just steer clear of it, because takes, it takes resources from you. It takes money out of your pocket, and it takes time away from you, from your mental and your cognitive abilities to, and the mind always affects the body. So if you have a lack of mental power, you're also going to have a lack of physical manifestation to, improve your life. So yeah, absolutely steer clear of it.
And I'm just going to say, I've done it more than I'd like to admit. I'm not saying I've been a massive stoner or anything, but there was a point in my life where I was doing it almost every single day, and it wasn't enjoyable. Maybe the first couple of times it was, but then it just started to make me feel really depressed, and I think that's arguably one of the most depressing periods in my life. Didn't have a lot of energy, wasn't sleeping well. I started developing a lot of anxiety as well. That was a big side effect for me, and that took a long time for me to get over. Yeah, don't touch it, guys. It's not worth it. Bad. Very bad.
Yes, right.
And expensive. It's very expensive if you smoke it every day, so don't do it.
Right.
Any other comments, Josh?
Yeah, got another comment from Ronan. He says, it's like a domino. You're high, you don't mind being bored, so you do nothing. You don't feel like cooking, so you order takeout. Much more expensive. As you say, it was enjoyable for a while. It was for me too. I got anxiety, so you're not alone, brother. Best choice for me to quit, and I agree completely. It's not worth it. There are so many more healthier and purposeful things you could be doing with your time and energy. it really doesn't take much. Like for me, like I used to be really addicted to video games, like I think I mentioned earlier, and now I haven't played a video game for probably over a year. And even then, I played it for a little while, and I got a little bit dizzy after a while, and I switched it off. I was like, no, I'm not playing that. I don't like it.
Right. Right.
and because I didn't need it anymore. Like I had something now, like the group. That's what's taken over. That's become my passion. Like making YouTube videos, making Facebook posts, helping people. That's what I do now, and that's what I love doing. And you will find someone like that, bro. It just takes some self-discovery. So if anyone watching is struggling in their life right now, like purpose is the way to go.
And I'd like to add, I think a lot of times people that are struggling, you're going to find inspiration in the most accidental places. I mean, it could be random. It could be a trip in town. It could be a late night video. It could be a dream. Inspiration comes from some of the just most random spots. And you never know when that next opportunity is going to come around. It's going to change your life.
Absolutely. Inspiration can be found in so many different places. And with that in mind, like I think we've been going almost an hour now, so I think we're probably going to wrap things up pretty soon. So Chevy, is there anything you want to add? Anything you want to kind of finish up on? What would it be if you had to?
Well,
if you had the opportunity.
Sure, I'll try to make this as quick as I can. So I had OCD, clinical OCD, about 5 years ago, and during my first marriage, I was kind of stuck in my room. I had to downgrade to part time, and I couldn't hardly leave my room. I was just bothered with intrusive thoughts and anxiety, and couldn't drive my car, and it was embarrassing. And she left me because I think of it mostly, but I went on a 37-mile hike from my hometown to Chillicothe, Ohio, here about a month ago. And I just want people to know that you can go from not being able to, leave a 12 by 12 room to walking 37 miles on foot. And I know that's my experience, but I just want people to know that you can do anything that you set your mind to. And don't be a prisoner of your own thoughts. And that's all I've got. Gabe, do you have anything?
I'm right there with you, man. Like it's easy to, and those of you who have read, Goggins' books, it's easy to make yourself a victim. He couldn't read, he didn't have a dad, he grew up poor, this and that, cheated his way through high school, wanted to join the Navy, failed PJ school, way overweight. And yeah, he could have sat there on that couch watching that Navy SEAL ad and been like, well, due to my circumstances, I'll never be one of those guys on the screen. Or you can get up and get after it and make it happen and call up recruiters. And next thing you know, affecting millions of people and impacting all kinds of people throughout different walks of life. So just get rid of that victim mindset. I get it. Some of us were dealt, a better hand in life than others. I'm a good example of that. I was given, godly parents, and they instilled values into me that has carried me and made me successful thus far in life. And not everybody had that, but there's other areas that I'm lacking in that maybe somebody else had better. And it's like, well, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to sit there and feel bad about it in that 12 by 12 room, or are you going to get up and go get after it and make it happen and become that vision that you see of yourself? Josh and I have spoken on this before in previous podcasts. Start working every day to be that person that you want to be, that Josh Jables or that Chevy Shawn or that Gabriel Byers in the future, where you feel like you've arrived, which you never will fully arrive, but work every day towards that, battling that person that you see in the mirror until you're liking better and better what you see there.
Absolutely. Guys, Wow, I mean, there's no better rap than that.
Right on.
And right on. So, guys, I look to do this again with you guys sometime.
Sure. We'd love to have you back.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate both of you, and yeah, thanks again for having me on. And it's been really enlightening to listen to both of you and what you guys think, and it's even inspired me. So thanks again.
Likewise, man.
It's been a pleasure. I have one final request, if you're willing, Chevy.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to show us the guns?
Yeah, sure.
Would you give us a flex?
There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Look at that.
Chevy Shawn in the flesh.
Yeah.
Now that's what a Chad looks like.
Yeah. Tickets to the gun show.
There you go.
All right, guys. Well, I would like everyone. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us and tuning in, leaving comments. It's been great, and thank you, Ronan. Yeah, he's got Chad arms 100%. Guys, if you're watching from YouTube, please be sure to abuse that like button and leave us a comment. It's really good for the algorithm. Really helps us grow, so we can get this pushed out to more people and help inspire everyone else. So yeah. That has been, I'm pretty sure it's episode 8. I have lost count at this point,
episode 8.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Episode 8 of the Chadcast. Thanks for watching, everyone.